Hello, what we're going to be going through in this video is Unit 2, Lesson 7, which is an introduction to the UIKit. So Lesson 27 talks about some of the most commonly used interface elements in the UIKit. The UIKit framework provides the crucial pieces you need to build and manage your iOS apps. It includes definitions for all user interface objects, the event handling system that responds to user input, and the entire model that allows apps to run in iOS. The foundational class for all visual elements defined in UIKit is the UI view or view. A view defines a rectangular shape that can be customized to display anything on the screen. Text, images, lines, and graphics all depend on UI view as the base. UIKit defines dozens of special UI view subclasses that perform specific tasks. For example, the UI label displays text, the UI image view displays an image, and the UI scroll view allows you to put scrollable content onto the screen. Almost all screens in an app consist of many views which together make up a view hierarchy. Views are often nested, as in the view hierarchy diagram. A view that's contained in another view is called a child view. A view that contains one or more views is called a parent view. So in this example, what we have here is we have a table that includes city name and the time in that city, and then some additional information. So each cell in the list is called a child view of a table view, and each cell is a parent to the three views. We have a label that displays the city name, another label that displays how the time zones are related down below the city name, and then an image view that displays an image of a clock. So to display a view on screen, you need to give it a frame which consists of a size and position, and then add it to the view hierarchy. So basically these are some of the actual properties in a view, some of the more important ones. So the size property, which is the width and height of the view, the position, where you view it on screen, alpha, which is the transparency of the view, background color is the background color that will be displayed. So on the right, what we have is the attributes inspector, where you can go ahead and set some of those properties for your view. Okay, that was pretty weird. So anyway, the next is some of the common views defined in UIKit. The first one is a label. Its class is the UI label class. And what it does is it uses static text to relay information to the user. So I've highlighted in orange the actual label content. And basically you would go in and you could go ahead and set some of the properties over on the right for your label, such as the text that will appear, the color, the font size, the alignment of the text, the number of lines, and some additional information that you can go ahead and add to your UI labels that you add to your scenes. The next item is the image view, or the UI image view, and what that does is displays an image or an animated sequence of images. And the UI image view is not the actual image, it is a view where you need to place the image into. So if you look on the right at the properties, when you save an actual picture image to your X assets file folder, then what you would do to insert it into your image view, you would choose it from on the first item, which is the image. So what that'll do is that'll provide you a list of images that are currently that you can select from, and then once you select that image, it'll go ahead and display that image in the image view. The next item is a text view, which allows the user to input text into your app. So a lot of times you'll see text views are used in mail apps where you're typing in an email, or in this case where you may be taking a note. The next view is a scroll view, and this allows the user to see content that runs beyond the boundaries of the view. So basically you have the scroll bars, horizontal and vertical scroll bars, where you can go ahead and scroll that view so you can see the rest of the view, even though the view is larger than the actual view it's contained in. The next item is a table view. Its class is the UI table view class, and it presents data in a single scrollable column of rows and sections, and it allows the user to navigate easily through groups of information. And you'll see table views in a ton of different apps. A lot of the system apps that are available, a lot of apps use table views, and we're going to be working quite a bit with table views in CIS 265. So this is just an example of one of the table views that you will see for the settings. And again, you get the scrollability automatically because the UI table view actually inherits from the UI scroll view. Next item are toolbars, which usually appear at the bottom of a screen and display one or more button called bar buttons items. So you'll see these a lot. This is a picture from Photos where you can go ahead and send the photo, move the photo to the trash. So this is what we call a toolbar. Next item are navigation bars, and they typically are displayed at the top of the screen with bar buttons for navigating through a hierarchy of screens. So your bar button in this example would be the settings. So what you would do is you would click on that settings button and it would navigate you back to the previous screen. So this is how you can navigate from screen to screen when a lot of your screens depend upon the other screen. And then we have tab bars. They provide easy access to different views in an app. So we see these at the bottom of this example for Today, News Plus, and following, and then that'll just take you to one of those tabs that you've actually gone ahead and selected. So those are just some of the common UI views that are available in UIKit and what we're going to be working with throughout the rest of CIS 165 and into CIS 265. So the next thing we're going to talk about are controls, and controls tell the app what to do. You can think of a control as a communication tool between the user and the app. When the user interacts with the control triggers a control event. Different controls trigger different control events. So after you set up a control in the interface builder, you set up an IB action that responds to a specific control event and allows you to execute a block of code. So one of the most common controls are your buttons, or and its main class is the UI button class, and I've highlighted on the Apple Park directions. You would press on directions and it would give you the directions to drive through, and then it has additional buttons to call, add to, or share on that screen. And again, for all of the controls, like all of the views, there are specific properties that you can go ahead and set for your controls. Some of the properties for the button, you can change the text color of the button. You can go ahead and change the text on the button, font size. You can actually add an image to your button. So those are just some of the properties that you can go ahead and update for buttons. Next item is a segmented control, and it's just a horizontal set of multiple segments. Each segment functions as a discrete button, allowing the user to choose from a limited compact set of options. So in this example here, there's a button to check the map, and then transit, and then the satellite view for that specific location. Next item are text fields. So text field is actually not the same as a text view. A text field allows the user to input a single line of text into an app. So that's where a contacts list would be a specific case where you use text field, where you would go in and actually type in the information for your contacts. And over on the right, there's the various properties that you can go ahead and set when you go ahead and use a text field within your app. The next item is the UI slider or sliders, and they allow users to make smooth and gradual adjustments to a value. It's useful for controls that modify things like speaker volume, screen brightness, or color values. In this scenario here, we're changing our ringer volume to make it louder. And then on the right, there's various values that you can go ahead and set. You can go ahead and set the default value, which is the first item in the property on the right, and then you can scale it from a minimum value to a maximum value. And you can include images if you like, and you can go ahead and change the various color settings. The next item are switches. You see those a lot in apps, and they just let the user turn an option on or off. And one of the things, when you add a switch to an iOS app, you can go ahead and set the default state, which is over on the right. You can set the default state either to on or off when you add that switch to your app. And then the next item is our date pickers, which is the UI date picker, and this provides an interface for managing dates and time selection. It allows the user to specify a particular date quickly and efficiently. So that is our date picker. And then finally, there's tons of view and controls documentation found in the developer documentation. At developer.apple.com. They have information about all of the various views and controls. The last thing that I wanted to mention is that the UIKit defines a special class that controls a view, sets up child views, controls what they display, and responds to user interaction. And this class is called the UI View Controller. A lot of times when you have multiple scenes in your app, you will have separate view controller classes that control each one of those scenes, and we're going to see that as we start working on more complicated apps in the future. So that's basically all I wanted to cover in for lesson 2.7. So we will go ahead and talk to you later.